Surprise, you're the center of the universe. You always have been. We all are. Hi, welcome to Radical ReEnchantment. I'm Lezley. It's Misha Lezley. I love Bowie. Bowie has always been kind of ahead of the curve. And this interview I just saw from like the late 90s, 1999, where Bowie totally explains what's happening right now. Watch this.
But what is it specifically about the internet? I mean, anybody can say anything. And it all adds up to what? I mean, it seems to me there's nothing cohesive about it in the way that there was something cohesive about the youth revolution in music.
Oh, but absolutely. And because I think that we, at the time, up until at least the mid-70s, really felt that we were still living under the, in the guise of a single and absolute created society where there were known truths and known lies, and there was no kind of duplicity or pluralism about the things that we believed in. That started to break down rapidly in the 70s, and the idea of a duality in the way that we live. There are always 2, 3, 4, 5 sides to every question. That the singularity disappeared. And that, I believe, has produced such a medium as the internet, which absolutely establishes and shows us that we are living in total fragmentation.
I mean, he is describing the crumbling of consensus reality. He's describing the crumbling of our previously held, assumed worldview. Like it's over. It's over. It's all up for grabs. It's all up for grabs. And world perspectives shift all the time. Okay, this feels very apocalyptic, but this is what happens in the universe. This is what happens in creation. Things that no longer work, that no longer serve us, then need to dissolve and be replaced by things that are more suitable to where we are, more suitable to what we believe, more in resonance with our perspectives and our beliefs. And that's what's happening. This is happening. So I love words. I've always loved words. Words are symbols. They're symbols for other things. That's all they are. That's all words are symbols to represent other things and a way to communicate with other people the ideas that are in our head through words, through symbols. Words, though, are often unrecognized for what they are and pass without consciousness, absorb without consciousness, are the air that we breathe, are the water that the fish swim in that don't realize is impacting how we perceive our world. Take, for example, gendered language. Arabic is a gendered language, and you can have 100 female authors in a room, and they are referred to as this. But the moment you add one male to that room of 100 authors, then suddenly the term for those authors becomes male. Like, that is some perception-changing bullshit. And it is just bullshit. It was a decision made. Okay, there's nothing that's default. Okay, I can't express this enough. There is no default except maybe wholeness. It's the only default I know. Words are choices made based on belief systems, based on values, based on what we believe is real. And a gendered language like Arabic can't help but maybe make men assume that their presence can override every woman in every situation. That's part of what's dissolving here. It's a big part of what's dissolving here is patriarchy. And not least because women are fully participating in the world and sharing what we believe is valuable and meaningful about being and belonging. And no one knows what's going to happen with this input. No one knows. It's unprecedented in our recorded history. So let's talk about truth and reality. Let's talk about truth and reality. Truth and reality. Okay, so words mean things. They are symbols for beliefs and ideas that we want to communicate. Truth, at root, deru. The Pi word is deru, which means so much, but firm, steadfast. It is the root of true. It's the root of dri, which is druid. It's the root of tree. Firm, solid, steadfast. Manke Magan, in 32 Words for Field, said that in Old Irish, dru meant immersion and total connection. Okay, this is the root meaning for truth. Tree, there is a world tree. It's Axis Mundi, upon which the whole of the universe spins. Truth. There is no verb in Proto-Indo-European languages for truth-telling, like there is for lying, for being deceptive. There's no verb that says that what you're doing is truth-telling. It's almost like communication at its default is truth-telling, and that lies are an aberration and require a separate verb. So truth is immersion, total connection, the through line through the universe, the solid, firm, steadfast center, that which remains firm, steady, the same, regardless of who's looking. I don't know what truth is, but I'm getting an idea about what it's meant to represent. Reality, however, is something completely different.
And now for something completely different.
Reality is wild, actually. The words for reality are wild. They're based in chri, which is wealth and property. Literally. It's where we get realty from. Our perception of what reality is was the physical world based in the permanent, unchanging ability to own and possess things in land and property. That's realty. That's where reality comes from. And this happened at the same time that the enclosures happened. Okay, this idea of reality being only what you could see, only what you could touch, and only what could be sold and owned by individuals for profit happened at the same time that common lands were being taken from the common people and delivered into the hands of individuals for profit. There's a word called duchas. Duchas it's Gaelic. There's a word similar in Irish. And it basically means your indigenous right to place, your indigenous right to inheritance, your indigenous right to belong to land that had been in your family and collective for generations and generations and generations since time immemorial. Okay, duchas. And at the time of the enclosures, something unbelievable happened. That land that had been held in common and could never, ever have been thought of as belonging to any one individual or family to be used and claimed and resources extracted and profited from one individual started to happen. Enclosures. This is a fundamental shift in human collective perspective of the world and of reality. It's a fundamental shift to what everyone knew automatically and naturally happened, which was that land could not be owned individually and that land collectively belonged to everyone. That the resources of the land belonged to everyone, that the abundance of the land belonged to everyone and could not be held by individuals. This was impossible. But power and greed made it so. And that's when our reality of the physical world became associated with wealth and property and land as individual ownership. These things happened together. They happened together. Before the scientific revolution, before the Reformation, before the enclosures, land was held in common, and our ancestors knew that the unseen were just as present as things that they could see and touch. There was no separation of land and spirit. When you take the land away from the people, when you take away Dukas, when you betray Dukas, you fundamentally shift how people perceive their place in the world. And this is a fundamental shift that is requiring healing. This is part of what this shift in the world is our coming back to Dukas and ideas of Dukas and the obvious and automatic right of the people to place, to land, and that land is not owned by individuals, ever. It's impossible. We are currently harvesting the fruits of a belief in personal capitalism and ownership of land, and colonization, and hierarchy, and separation. The universe is self-correcting. The universe is self-correcting. When there are ideas that come into being that take root and flourish, we will harvest the fruits of those ideas, and then they will be replaced by others that are more nourishing. Whiteness is not nourishing. The Epstein class isn't nourishing. Colonization and apartheid aren't nourishing. None of these things are nourishing for the collective, for all of the people. And the universe is self-correcting. It's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when. Julian Goff has this great theory of cosmology. It's called the blowtorch theory of the creation of the universe. And he's got this image of a conceptual idea of the universe as a cosmic web. And these look very much like brain neurons. His blowtorch theory of the creation of the universe says that this is how the universe will be structured, that there are areas of void and then areas of material clumping together, and that the universe continues to introduce energy through these webs, that we're still in connection with the source of creation through these webs. And I love the idea of these being neurons, our universe as being neurons, brain neurons, inside an infinitely large being. Like, haven't you ever wondered about scale in the universe and how big it actually gets? And maybe our world is just an atom. Maybe the Earth or our galaxy, our Milky Way galaxy, is just an atom in the body of an infinitely large being that exists in its whole entire universe as well. Like, that noodles my brain. But I love the idea of waves of wisdom that continue to be introduced into this cosmos, where the call to unity, the call to wholeness is constantly being broadcast from the source. And that all the ways that we get it wrong will eventually be corrected, because the same broadcast resonance goes out and it never changes. We just learn more about it as the physicality of the world evolves. So the whole point of this video is that you are the center of the universe. You're the center of your own universe, and there are an infinite number of universes being created all the time through our belief and perspective. Take back your sovereign power to create your universe as you see fit. I believe in your universe. I believe in your vision for what your life will be. No one else knows what the fuck you're supposed to be here for. That's up to you, and I support you in that. 100%. Consensus reality is in a shift, and I want us all to agree that you have the right to live your life in soul sovereignty, that your particular and personal relationship with the unseen is just as valuable as mine. And I want to hear about it, and I want you to live that. There are so many ways of knowing. There's an infinite number of ways of knowing in this world, and they're all valuable and they're all valid. And I want you to take back your soul sovereign right to decide what that is. Authority. You have the soul sovereign authority to determine what your life will be. You get to decide what it means. You get to decide what it's for. You get to decide how you belong. You get to decide what belonging looks like. You get to decide that. And you get to decide within the parameter of wholeness, where your self-sovereign, soul-sovereign right to decide for yourself is also offered to everyone else. Every being, not just human. All beings. That's the trade-off. That's the balance. 100% soul sovereign authority to decide your life, 100% respect for someone else's soul sovereign right to decide for themselves. That's the balance. That's the beauty. That's freedom. That's fucking amazing. Who wouldn't love that? I love that. That's what I want. That's the world that we're creating. That's the world we're creating. Authority. You have the authority to say what it means for you. You have the authority. You have the authority. Authority, the right to author. You have the right to author your life, your belief, your myth, your meaning. Take it. Take it. So just to recap, land and spirit are woven and sewn together forever. Chid Agus Anam Fite Futsu Bràth. Manitou Aki Inakonagewen. Land and spirit in accord, woven and sewn together forever. Choose consciousness-based reality. Choose, or at least let other people choose consciousness-based reality. If you want to live in a material-only world, be my guest. Be my guest. Do what you like. I'm suggesting that if you'd like more magic in your life, let's move towards consciousness-based reality. Consciousness-based. So much nicer. Many ways of knowing. Many ways of knowing. No judging the whole pie with your little piece of science. The whole pie with your little piece of material reductionist science. Many ways of knowing. Hierarchy versus a web or a circle. No one wants a hierarchy. Hierarchies only are good for the people right at the top, and then you'll fight amongst yourselves to be the very, very top. Like, it's so exhausting. Hierarchies are exhausting, and we get to determine what this world looks like. You have an enormous amount of power to craft this world the way you want. And regardless of what's going on out there or what kind of toddlers are making decisions in the world, remember that you are the author of your life. We don't have to change the world outside when we change the possibilities of the world right here. That's where the power lies. That's where your power is, to imagine it differently, to see it differently, to choose differently. No changes in the physical world ever happen until we change in the spirit. Own your soul's sovereign right to author your life as you choose. And then we do that together. This is happening. Like, subscribe and like, whatever, share. If you want to hear what I'm going to talk about going forward, if you want to know how we got here and where we're going, follow along. Okay, love you. Bye.